taking what I was given to taking what I can get. Don't leave any money on the table, that's a tip. Couple rounds down and it's OT. I G-O, then I OD. I'm good.
What is going on, guys? I am NobodyEpic. That track is called Tighten Up by The Spectators. Link in the description or a clickable annotation at the end of the video. Today, I am showing you guys some kill confirmed gameplay on the map Express. Not my best gameplay ever, but it's just something for you guys to look at while we do one of my favorite series to do with you guys, Awkward Situations, the series where you guys write your real life awkward situations in the comments. Start doing that now, especially if they're long. And I bring one of those awkward situations into the video, I dissect it, I tell you how I can relate to it in my life, and then we dole out some real life advice, and it gets a little silly along the way, but that's okay, because we got a pretty good awkward situation today, and a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Today's awkward situation comes to us from Kiana Dwyer. Kiana said, so I am dating this guy, and we have been dating for a couple months now. I go over his house like practically every day, but I feel so awkward because his dad is always hitting on me and flirting with me while my boyfriend isn't around. How do I tell my boyfriend about his dad? Help, please! Well, Kiana, help is on the way. Today we are going to fix this situation and hopefully solve your problem with this flirtatious father. But before we jump into things, I'm going to have to break down the male perspective and the female perspective to really solve this problem, because from a male perspective, this would never really be an issue, because if you had a girlfriend and her mom came into the room when you guys were doing stuff and she was like, oh, you want some cookies and maybe some pussy? It wouldn't really be a big deal to you, because maybe that's something that you thought about when you were jerking on Pornhub last night, and that's a fantasy you've already had go through your head, and it's not necessarily seen as a negative thing. But from a girl's perspective, and your dad's all like, hey, you're looking really fine today, Kiana. I like how you look in them jeans, girl. I don't know why he would have such a vocal cord problem like that, but I can see how that would bother you and really just gross you out. So we are going to break down the male perspective first, and then we'll get into the female perspective. Let's do this. Now, as a man, when you grow up and become a parent for the first time, I cannot speak from personal experience because I am not a parent, but from my 22 years on this earth and observing people, I can say that fathers tend to live vicariously through their sons. And what I mean by that, if you don't know what the word vicariously means, it just means to put all of your self-worth into the experiences of your child. And this kind of person would be maybe the guy at the basketball game that's like, put my fucking son in, he needs to get in the goddamn game. And that's not always the negative side of that. It could just be you're extremely happy for your child when he does something like get an attractive girlfriend. And I hope I can say Kiana is attractive. I don't know if that's a real picture, first of all. She could be a whale with a beard, and that is not what she really looks like. And I hope she's not underage, second of all. But I'm just saying she's attractive for the point of this video, that if I was a father and I saw my son come over with that chick, I would be like, hell yeah, fucking right, Drake style, except I wouldn't say that. But as a father, I would definitely be proud of my son for having a very attractive girlfriend. And maybe I would think to myself, hey, I could have got some of that action when I was a little bit younger, or I could have got some of that action when I was younger, if he's a really old guy, but I don't think he is. But I could see how he would think that way, especially if he tends to live vicariously through his own son, as most parents do. How could you not? You love them and you see yourself in them. They look fucking just like you, unless you adopted an Asian baby, which is fine because they're really smart, and we're really getting off topic here. But, like I said, attractive girlfriend for your son, good deal. Maybe, and not necessarily a negative thing, because this just happens, but since this father is obviously old enough to have a son that can likely drive a car based on what Kiana looks like, he's been in a relationship, maybe not marriage, but possibly marriage, probably marriage, with a woman for some very long period of time. So that could tend to maybe get monotonous, and once you're married for a while, you know that as an older man you become undesirable. Speak for yourself, I got a horse cock. Sorry, that was my inner grandparent speaking, and he doesn't really need to talk right now, fuck that guy. But I could see how as a man you would feel a little self-conscious because you become a little less desirable once you hit an older age and you've just been in this relationship for a really long time with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, or maybe you you are just divorced and single and you don't have a girlfriend and you just feel like you're not really meeting women, and even if you were with this woman, you're not really meeting women because you're with this woman. You maybe kind of feel, I don't want to say this because it's great to be married and have a family and be in love, but you kind of feel a little handcuffed. Your inner man is like, let me get out there and tackle the pussy, or just want to be kind of free. And you could take that as a bad thing when I say it like that, but it's really not. You're a happy person, but the male perspective is wanting to get with a lot of females at once. That's how it is in the wild. And even though it's not necessarily accepted like that in society, I could see how some guys still tend to think like that and still be great husbands and great parents at the same time. But this is probably one of those situations. And while you're well within your rights to be a little freaked out, because that's still really creepy, I just don't want you to take it as some pedophilic gesture. And maybe if you kind of see it as a compliment in one way or another, then it will help you understand the situation. Because he could just be really happy that his son got an attractive girlfriend and he doesn't really know how to express it, so he kind of says it in a flirtatious manner. But there's ways we can get around this, and that's how we are going to address this issue in the female perspective. I'm going to make a generalization here and say that as a female, you don't really require a level of approval with parents. Obviously, there's a little bit that goes into that, but that is more so a male thing. I know I have that, and I kind of, as my tactic to get in with the female mothers, tend to be a little flirtatious myself. I know that one of my girlfriend's mothers one time told me that I was a tall glass of water, and I said, "Yeah, are you thirsty?" And I got a little giggle, but that's kind of diverting from the whole point. If you guys, any tall guys out there, if you want to use that line, go right ahead. But as a female, it's more about being comfortable with the parents, and this is a situation where you're not comfortable, and you can't really directly address this problem because that would be really awkward, more awkward than the situation itself. So I had to kind of ask my girlfriend for a little bit of perspective on this. I texted her, and she said kind of what I was thinking anyway, where you should just talk to the boyfriend about this, just address it, say, I'm just not really comfortable. I don't know what it is around your dad. I don't know if he's being a little flirtatious, and you might not even be comfortable addressing that with your boyfriend because it really is the best line of defense against what's happening with the father or whatnot. You can't really be honest with the father because obviously you're not comfortable with him. So be honest with the person that you have an honest relationship with, your boyfriend. I actually had my girlfriend say something similar. My dad is a really quiet person, and he's awesome. I love my dad. There's no problems with him. He's like the best dad in the world. But my girlfriend one time was like, why is your dad really quiet? Does he not like me or something? And I was like, no, he's awesome. And it was like around the time we were first getting to know each other. He's like, no, of course not. He's just a quiet person. And that's how he's always been. And he's a really cool guy, but he's just quiet. So that's what I had to tell her, and it really solved any problems we had. She didn't really worry about it, I don't think, but it really helped, and I'm really glad she told me. I didn't take it as offensive, because I think you might think your boyfriend will be offended and think you have some type of problem with your father, but just bring up the issue and be like, well, why is your dad saying things like that? It just kind of makes me uncomfortable. He might say he's joking around, and you might still feel that way, and if he's not really addressing the problem like you want, then I think it would be best to avoid the father in any situation possible, or just kind of sit back and take it from the perspective of he's not going to act on this, and it's just we need to try to avoid the situation whenever possible, and it should get better with time as you continue to date this person, and I hope you get married and have a bunch of unicorn babies and enjoy your time together. This has been Awkward Situations. Please write your awkward situations in the comments. Hope to help Kiana. Have a great day.
You can flow a little, well the boy can too. Ain't nothing you can do that the boy can do. I tell him all tighten up, tighten up. I tell him all tighten up.